All right, you've tuned in for a fresh deep dive, and buckle up because we are about to launch headfirst into the thrilling, kind of neon-soaked underbelly of Hyland Point. We're talking Schedule 1, yeah. So you ready to get started on your criminal empire?
Couldn't be more ready. Let's dive right into understanding the core of what awaits a new player in Schedule 1. What's the fundamental experience they're, signing up for?
Okay, let's unpack the very core. Like we said, it's all about starting at the very bottom, a low-level dealer, practically stripped bare after a bust. Hyland Point is your fresh, if dangerous, opportunity. And the ultimate aim is to build a thriving drug empire. This means you'll be intimately involved in producing and selling your goods, constantly seeking out ways to expand your territory, your operations, all while keeping a very wary eye out for both the long arm of the law and, any rival gangs looking to muscle in. It's a constant juggling act.
And it's not just about the adrenaline of the deals, right? The guide really highlights those key underlying gameplay elements. We're talking strategic resource management, knowing exactly when to buy low, sell high, how wisely to invest your hard-earned or maybe ill-gotten gains. Then there's the fascinating aspect of relationship building, which sounds absolutely crucial. You need to cultivate trust and strong connections with both your suppliers and your customers. And underpinning all of this is that ever-present balancing act between reward and risk. Do you dare take that high-stakes deal for a massive payout? Can you afford to lay low for a while, even if it means slower progress?
Exactly. And how do you actually see yourself climbing through the ranks in this cutthroat world? Well, it's a classic system of earning money, of course, but also gaining experience points, XP. As you accumulate XP through your activities, you level up. You start as a humble street rat, and eventually, if you play your cards just right, you ascend to the legendary status of Kingpin. Each new rank unlocks exciting new items, access to different locations in Hyland Point, and fresh opportunities to expand your, illicit activities. It's a tangible sense of progression that keeps you hooked, for sure.
What's really interesting to consider, though, is the stage of the game's development. The guide mentions it's currently in early access as of May 2025, and it sounds like that will continue for a significant period, like at least until March 2027.
Which is fantastic for us, the players. It means Schedule 1 is a dynamic, evolving world. We can expect regular updates, which is incredibly exciting, new content, new features, maybe even new challenges. But it's also important to be aware, that with early access comes the possibility of bugs. It's just part of the development process. The game experience is going to continue to grow and change, so what might be the meta today could shift slightly tomorrow. Keeps things fresh. You'll start with a small but crucial amount of starting cash, a helping hand from some mysterious uncle, and a basic initial base, probably a humble motel room. Your very first steps involve getting your hands dirty, quite literally. You'll be tasked with buying initial supplies, like your first cannabis seeds, and then diving into the hands-on process of growing your first batch. Think carefully spreading soil, meticulously planting seeds, then packaging your very first product, ready for that initial kind of nerve-wracking sale. It's all about learning the entire production cycle right from the ground up. It's surprisingly engaging.
It sounds like a really practical, almost tactile tutorial. You're not just reading about it, you're actually doing the nuts and bolts. And I can only imagine that first successful sale is a pretty significant moment, right, for a budding entrepreneur.
Absolutely. It's that first taste of success, that initial validation that, hey, this might actually work. But the prologue doesn't shy away from the harsher realities, either the risks. You'll get your first, likely tense encounter with law enforcement and learn the absolute necessity of being able to quickly hide any illegal items if the cops decide to take an unwelcome interest. It's a skill you'll need to master, fast.
That sounds like a potentially stressful but utterly crucial mechanic to get comfortable with early on. Don't want to mess that up.
Exactly. The guide really stresses practicing this hiding mechanic. When the pressure is on, you need to react swiftly, effectively, avoid finding yourself in handcuffs. It's all part of that constant risk-reward balance we talked about. And for successfully navigating the prologue and getting your initial operation going, you even get a little early reward. The left in the dust achievement pops up, a nice little pat on the back.
Okay, prologue done. You've got a little bit of cash jingling, maybe a few plants sprouting. What's the next absolutely crucial stage for a budding kingpin? Where do you go from there?
Setting up your base of operations and getting a really solid handle on managing your resources. The guide emphasizes that even with your initial modest start that motel room or small apartment, You need to start thinking strategically. You need to establish a functional, efficient operation. It's the foundation upon which your entire empire is going to be.
So you're growing your product, buying supplies, starting to see results. What's one of the most fundamental pieces of advice the guide offers at this crucial stage? Like a golden rule.
Save frequently. I cannot emphasize this enough. Schedule 1 does not have an autosave function, so you are entirely responsible for preserving your progress. The guide specifically points out you'll typically save using the intercom near your base's door or maybe even a light switch. Make it an absolute habit. Because with the constant threat of unexpected police encounters, rival factions, losing a significant chunk of progress due to a forgotten save can be absolutely devastating, incredibly frustrating. Trust me on this one.
Wise words indeed. So you got your initial base humming, first batches are flowing. How do you actually get that product into the hands of paying customers and start generating some serious revenue, the sales part?
The lifeblood of any successful business, legal or otherwise, building your customer base. The guide makes it abundantly clear. A steady, reliable stream of buyers is essential for any sustained growth in Hyland Point. You can have the best product in the world, but it's worthless if you can't get it to the right people.
So how do you go from having a few plans to cultivating a robust network of eager clients? What's the strategy?
The strategy that might seem a little counterintuitive, but is apparently incredibly effective, is offering free samples. The guide explicitly suggests offering small, enticing free samples to the NPCs you encounter on the streets. This is a surprisingly effective way to convert curious folks into regular, paying customers and steadily build up your valuable client list. Of course, discretion is key here. You don't want to be openly soliciting buyers on a busy corner with a cop potentially just around the block. Keep it subtle.
That makes perfect sense. Word of mouth, or maybe word of a great free product, can be powerful marketing, even in the underworld. Once you've attracted some customers, how do you manage those relationships and fulfill orders efficiently?
That trusty smartphone comes back into play in a massive way. The journal and map apps become indispensable for meticulously tracking who wants what, how much, and exactly where they are in Hyland Point. The guide strongly highlights prioritizing customers who are geographically close to optimize your delivery routes and meet those deadlines. Deliveries are time-sensitive, remember. Efficient planning and smart routing are key to keeping customers happy and profits flowing. Time is money.
So it's not just having the product, it's the logistics of getting it there on time. What about the financial side? How do you ensure you're getting a fair price and maximizing earnings?
When you're making a sale, the game helpfully displays a fair price. The guide offers a smart tactic. Nudge the price up slightly above that fair value to increase your margin, but be careful not to overprice too drastically. That might deter customers, send them elsewhere. It's a delicate dance between profit and satisfaction. And just as crucial is managing your supply. The guide wisely advises declining or delaying orders if stock is low. Don't overpromise. Maintaining a reputation for reliability, even in the underworld, seems surprisingly important for long-term success.
Okay, you're dealing, making deliveries efficiently, seeing money come in. But this is an illegal enterprise, so there's always that looming shadow of law enforcement. Let's talk about managing those risks and evading the Hyland Point PD.
This is where things can get incredibly intense, where your quick thinking and planning are really tested. The guide makes it absolutely clear. If you're dealing illegal stuff, you are constantly under potential police scrutiny. They're a persistent threat you need to be aware of.
So what are the absolute key things to keep in mind to reduce your chances of ending up in handcuffs? How do you stay out of trouble?
First and foremost, that hiding mechanic from the prologue becomes vital. If you get stopped by the police, you need to quickly hide any incriminating items one at a time, the guide emphasizes, to avoid detection. Practice helps. But the absolute best strategy, just avoid carrying multiple illegal items unless absolutely necessary for a delivery. Less illicit material on you means less risk if you get stopped. So, for you, the aspiring kingpin listening right now, really consider this. What kind of leader will you be in Hyland Point? Will you prioritize rapid, aggressive expansion no matter the cost or risk? Or will you focus on building a more sustainable, maybe more discreet, and ultimately powerful operation, carefully cultivating your reputation in the underworld? What kind of mark will you ultimately leave on the gritty streets of Hyland Point? Until our next deep dive, stay safe out there, and maybe keep things just a little bit shady.